What's up, Buzz Squad? It's your boy Dalton, looking a little Terminator-like because the MAT deck profile is coming today. It's coming right now. Like, as soon as I get done with this intro stuff, it's coming out. You know, I will be talking about some of the cards that I feel should have been done differently for Bushi, some of the cards that could have been better, things they could have added, things of what I think the deck needs and so forth when I'm actually running. And I want to get your feedback, I feel like it would be nice if it's on Instagram, Discord, or in the comment section down below. So let's just get into it so you can hear me talk for a long time down there, right? Let's go. All right, so let's get into this deck profile here. So my buddy is the 7th style Heatwind, basically because it is a Dragon Emperor Legend on Buddy Call. And resource gain is just fantastic to have as a buddy. And it's a size 1. I can't argue with that. I run 4 4th style whirlwinds. Probably the best of the 2 size 3s, in my opinion. As much as I want the boss card to be the better of the 2. Just being able to grab a weaponry from deck on call or ride is just fantastic. And double attack is also great as well. And the fact that its weaponry link is 1 or less instead of no cards in soul. But saying that, I do want one of 0th style Gale. 0th, it sounds so weird actually saying it. Just because life gain is semi-important, you do kind of take a little bit of damage, but it kind of helps with that. And the fact that I still want to see it, and it has better power output as well than this one. Just wish it had a little bit more to it than just the fact of, look, my SP's $200 and I'm shiny. That's my size 3s. Off to my size 2s. I run 3 3rd style Northwind. My honest opinion, if I could find better cards, I'd probably take this card out completely or at least run it at 2. But at the moment, there isn't really any other cards I would want to add into the deck. For now, Bushi could change my mind later. But yeah, it's still good grabbing stuff from deck, but it's really just a worse version of Whirlwind. So, teach their own, I guess. Run 4 1st style Coldwind. Being able to push with this card just because it grabs from drop and adds to an MAT soul. It's fantastic. You can use it with the counter call to keep going. Honestly, I would rather run it at 3 just because I don't want to see it too much. But it still doesn't hurt to have the 4th copy just to be able to make that push if it's defensively or offensively. That's why it's there, because you could only weaponry link so much before and purge so much before you can't do that anymore. So that's why this card's here. And obviously, 4 of the buddy, because gauge and draw. That's all I have to say. It's gauge and draw. Next, size 0s. And by size 0s, I mean the 3rd style Southwind. You only really need to run 2. Yes, it does protect your cards from being destroyed and their effects being negated. But effect negation isn't really big as of the moment. At least not in our group here. They do like to destroy my things, so that's why it's really here. but I don't feel like monster destruction or item destruction is going to be super big. It's going to be more trying to make sure your opponent can't go supernova on you. Just keep going and pounding off with all their card effects. Now we start with our weaponries. 4 mobile armored shield, because defense is fantastic in this deck. I find this deck to be more of a grinded out deck, even though it does have the potential to OTK. Just this card itself is just too fantastic. It stops so many things. Stops Cosmoman trying to go super strong on you with his 5 crit double attack. You could just like, nah, let's make that 8 instead. And second thought, let's actually make that 6, you know. Great card. Next we run 4 Featherblade MATI or 1, whatever you want to call it. Your aggressive card. You need to run 4 of it. Basically, 4 aggressive, 4 defensive. That's how I look at it. Yeah, both draw you a card. 1 on your turn, 1 on your opponent's turn. It's fine. I wish Bushi would have printed more on your opponent's turn cards, like the shield, just to kind of have more variety in the weaponry, but it's first support and probably, sadly, the only support it's going to get until, like, Climax Booster or something crazy like that, or some random card later on. This deck is actually different from the match, because I now run 2 Feather Rifle Wetter. Not because of the name. I know. You ride mech girls and you throw in something to get them a little wetter. And that's just been demonetized. Just saying. I would prefer to run the deal of damage to my opponent one. I can't remember, like MK2. But the fact of being able to destroy cards on my opponent's field is what really sold this to me. And I guess it gains me a life too. If I could, I'd probably rearrange how many I have actually in the deck. You know, maybe taking out the size 2 to add in more weaponry. Maybe the size 0, to be perfectly honest, to add 2 more weaponry. Because then the size 2 would be better then, because you have more targets. Yeah, that wraps up the item lineup in a sense. Cough, cough. Off to the spells. The only 4 of in the deck, and probably the one thing that I have a problem with the entire archetype, is their negate, Fugal Shield. The fact that it gains you gauge, I feel to be a little redundant, especially with how much you can gauge ramp with the deck already. The life is fantastic. In my honest opinion, I feel like it should have been nullify the attack, grab a weaponry from drop, gain a life, so you know it's not stupid broken. If you have 2 or more souls still, obviously, so still steep thing, but the gauge I just don't feel is necessary with how much you can actually gauge ramp in the deck. Speaking of gauge ramp, run 3, it's superhero time. Probably the most expensive card in the deck until I pull an SP of the triple rare. And then that will be the most expensive card in the deck. But besides that, if I had my hands on Brave Machine Hanger, I would be running that over this. In my honest opinion, being able to add more souls to my MATs, and it's a counter, and they basically do the same thing. You check top 3, you put any number into your gauge, and if you want, you could put 1 card somewhere else. In this case, I would want to put it in the souls because potentially more plays that way. That's why I like it. But sure, you can argue the fact that this might be better for the deck, but let me know if you have Brave Machine Hangers at home and you have the cards for this deck. Build it, test it out, and see if I'm right. If Brave Machine Hanger is better for the deck, or if it is, it's superhero time, just because triple rares are always better, right? Is that how that works? Next, I run 3 operations. I know a lot of people like running it at 4. I look at it as not being the greatest card in the deck. It's probably one of the weak points in the deck. Um, yeah, you grab a size 3 from your deck and a weaponry, but I'm only running 5, as you can see, so it's not really needed. And I would rather be running the uncommon card that grabs from drop because it grabs any MAT, which I feel is a lot better, and it's cheaper. The only thing that could have made this better is if it said size 2 or greater MATs, and we got another size 2 that was decent, or if the other rare size 1 was actually a size 2 and was actually good. There you go. Just because then this card would be better, but in my honest opinion, it's because really it's just play that, you search out this, any other weaponry, and then proceed to call or ride, and then keep grabbing more. Which is fine, I guess, but I don't know. I guess I'm picky about it. And the card that I think is better, Life as an Aircraft Mechanic. Just being able to grab from drop, I feel is just so much stronger than being able to grab from deck with this deck, because you can draw, you can gauge ramp like a madman. So that's why I feel like that's better for the deck than the double rare. Funny how a uncommon, in my case, outclasses a double rare for a deck. So weird. That's typically not how Bushi does it. They always try to make the double rare the better card. Yeah, but I honestly feel like this card's probably the better of the two. Next, I run 3 2-man team. It's a draw spell. You don't want to run it at 4 because then you see it too much, and then you run into problems where you have dead cards off of draws, and then you don't really need to draw that much because you already have so much other draw in the deck that this card's kind of irrelevant. You know, you could even run it at like 1 and maybe run a time sale just because you can, so you can proc 2 draw spells. But 3 for now. I might test time sale just to see how it rolls out, or even what's the other one? Buddy Help, I think. I might be completely wrong. I don't remember what its name was. I know it had Buddy in it. To draw 2 cards for 3 gauge, because you don't really care about gauge too much, because you gain too much. Next, this is mainly just because of how our group is playing right now. I run 3 loyalty main board. Jacob right now is really kind of going folktale god punks, and he overcalls with god punks all the time. So, you know, let's stop you at 3. Christian, Astro Dragons, they like to overcall a lot. Let's stop that. Will, Gargantua Dragons, let's stop that. Priceless Y, you know, if he gets his what's the other? Not Pravarga. Jacob, you're wrong here. It's not Pravarga. That's not the one. Zervine. There we go. That's the problematic one. Zervine chain with Pravarga, obviously. You know, you're like, no. We'll stop that at a 3 there, buddy boy. Fantastic card. Possibly the same thing with Electro Deities. I haven't really faced them too much. You know, Will's still kind of working with the deck, but I could still see how it would be powerful. It might be the same case of where Godpunk deck, you just kind of overcall because you want to and you can. Next, I run 2 Azure Skies Descent. Countercall, so you can like go more defensively here with that card, adding more souls to your item per se, or go more aggressive. The fact that you can call any MAT from drop by paying its call cost. So as long as you have 3 gauge, you're basically live on anything really. So it can work aggressively, it can work just to keep going with plays because you're running low on resources and so forth. And all that good stuff. All right, and that is my 49 card deck. I do have a 50th card, but I feel like it's kind of for right now. It is the impact, being it is a great finisher and so forth. I know some people run the Brave Machine impact. That's 2 gauge, and then you deal damage equal to how many souls you have. But you would want to run this with that and so forth for combos and so on. This could easily be a Gambit. It could be an Obstruct just to slow down your opponent if it's a mirror match. This deck doesn't need too many of its main cards, because if you take out the loyalties, that really puts you down to 46 cards, so you can run 4 random cards. So things like that. You might not even need to run gauge ramp spells, so right there you're down to 43 cards really for the deck, just because of how much draw gauge ramp it has naturally. It's just kind of there to finish off the opponent. Yeah, I might even take it out to put back in the MK2 just so I can do a cheeky burn damage during final phase. But that's besides the point. So that wraps up my MAT deck profile. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know if there's other cards that I should be trying. Let me know if maybe the Brave Machine Hanger is the better card to be running for this deck. Make fun of Jacob, because just make fun of Jacob. Don't press Fs for respects for Jacob and how badly he was destroyed during the match. No, I'm joking. Please, just go watch the match. It was fun. I had a totally different outcome because we were testing it before, and it was kind of, I can win game 1, and then he can pop off game 2, and then I still would win, but flip the coin, except it wasn't that time. And you can blame Jacob for not playing as well, or something like that, whatever you want to. So make sure to subscribe, hit the bell to get the notifications when we come out with other deck profiles, other matches. Comment down below what you liked. If you agree with some of my thoughts on some of the cards that MAT's got. Follow us on Instagram, join our Discord. And above all else, check out our shop. All links will be down in the description down below. Stay classy, yo. Hasta la vista, baby. I'll be back.